Here are my 3 guidelines to design scenes for vertical live streaming. The first is subtlety. Think less is more. Your screen real estate is smaller, so maximize your space, but don't overdo it. The second is immersion. Create spaces and experiences to draw your viewers in and hold their attention. Some examples of this could be screen share, comments, multicam, and maybe even a host plus guest. Finally, my third is to test. On either side of me are examples where I went live to test out the design, received critical audience feedback, and made tweaks to the designs while live to optimize my setup. Subtlety, immersion, and testing. These are the guides, but how to do it in real life. For a practical tutorial on how to implement these guides in both Evmux and Ecamm, stay with me for the full video. Here we are in Ecamm Live Pro, and I'm just gonna kind of give you the lay of the land here. We have your scenes window here, and that's where we create our scenes. This is our overlays window, and that's where you put overlays that will be combined into a scene. So each scene has a set of overlays. Then we also have our program window. Whenever I'm designing in vertical, I always have the program window over here, and then my preview window, which is where you're actually designing here, because you can see what you're designing bigger. And so first things first, we want to go into the preferences, and in preferences we want to make sure that the stream size on the stream tab, you can see I'm on general account stream, we want to make sure that this is set to tall. We want to set that to tall, 9:16, which is for vertical. So that's that part. You can decide what stream size you want or what frames per second you want. Totally up to you. But in terms of what we're designing right now, that is more of a stream thing as opposed to what we're designing. But we want to make sure we're designing tall 9:16. So that's first thing. Second thing, you want to make sure your scene source is set to blank. And if you haven't done that already, you can go back into preferences, go to your video tab, and then the default source mode. You want to make sure that this is set to blank, not camera source, not screen share. Make sure that it's set to blank. That allows you to kind of start fresh every time. So this is a new scene, brand new scene. We're going to create this and call it host only. All right, so host only, or you can just call it host, whichever. And I'm just going to go up here and select the type of scene I want it to be a camera scene. Once I click that, now you can see me and we're off and running. The only other thing that I might want to do is to make sure that we have a lower third. So in my lower thirds section, or better yet, in my download section, I have a lower third that I've already designed. It's this one. I'm going to pull that in here. And this gets a little hard because you have to try to I could have designed it better so that it just kind of drops in place, but I'm going to need to actually make it a little bit bigger, or better yet, probably try to crop it. So I'm going to hit the option drag feature, and that is supposed to allow me to crop in on it. Sometimes it does something a little weird, so I'm going to pull this in some and try to grab it that way through. So just try it. Cropping it this way allows you to kind of just have the graphic itself as opposed to all that dead space, and that having it like that means you can move it around a lot more freely. So you only have to do this once, because I'm going to actually copy and paste this anywhere else that I would like it to be. So in this solo scene, sometimes I have it at the top, and probably some of you guys saw it up there. And once you get it to where you want it to be, you can actually use the arrows to really make it drop into place. And you can see on this side here that's where I'm actually looking, even though I have it selected here. Once I have it in place, I can lock it. Probably need to name it properly, as that's always good. So now we have host only scene. I'm going to hit this plus sign down here to create a new scene, new empty scene, and you can see it goes back to blank. And let's call this host plus guest. These are very easy to make. And we're going to go here to camera scene. We hit the plus sign for camera, and then here we hit the plus sign for guest. Go back to the host scene, copy this name, and again, I'm going to paste it in here, but if you want to do this in Canva or whatever your design utility is, or you can make it right here in Ecamm, you can do that as well, just to have your name there. But because I don't know a lot of times, especially for the types of shows that I do, I don't know who the guest is going to be. I just leave the guest there. So now you have your host, you have your guest, and you're good to go. That already is designed for you. There's another way to do that, but we'll kind of get to that in a little later, actually, probably in this next scene. So the next one we want to create is a 3 camera. So we're going to call this 3 camera, and I'm going to just put top down in brackets, because we're going to duplicate this scene and create a different one that has the BTS shot actually in brackets. So here I'm just grabbing my background, pulling it onto this scene, and I'm just going to use the scroll wheel to scroll it up so that it takes up the whole scene. Now I can slide this over, where I want it to be, but it doesn't matter. I just wanted to have something in the background. Now, instead of going up here and selecting a scene, I'm actually just building this from a blank scene. And that's why I always tell people do that. Build from a blank scene. Here on the bottom, you have the options of overlays, and one of them is a new camera overlay. You can see that right there. I'm going to click that. I'm going to just drop it right at the top. Under the wheel, on the pencil, I'm just going to actually go in and say I want a border, and that gives me a little bit of a border, and you can see what that looks like over here. So we're already cooking with gas. So we'll put that there. I'm going to hit Control V, which gives me my name back again. Lock these in place. Move my name up to where I'd like to be. In fact, that's a little bigger than I'd like it to be. And again, I'm using this side one to really dial that in. And I can see what it looks like over here, using the arrows to really get it into the place I'd like it to be. And we're good to go. Lock that in place. Next thing to do is to duplicate. So I can just copy and paste this camera overlay, or if you hit the Option drag, okay. I guess if you can't copy it if you locked it. So I've hit the Option drag, and now I have yet another camera, and I'm just going to simply click the arrow, turn off the border because I don't want a border on this one, and I'm going to make the top down shot in the middle. So USB video is my top down shot. I've added that to the middle, and now I'm going to do the same thing, Option drag again, and pull this down to the bottom and change this shot to my background shot, which is my C920 webcam. So those are there. You can see I've got a little bit of space. I'm just gonna, and that's why I have that background, so that you can kind of see that space there. So you pull that down even more, and that you see that this is one that's directly in the middle. You get those lines and that haptic feedback from the keyboard when you're doing it. So this is what it looks like here, and you can see everything that you need to see. I'm gonna lock these in place so that they don't move. Then the next thing we want to do is create another one by duplicating it, right? So I'm going to hit this duplicate icon, and instead of it being the top down, this one is going to be BTS. And so all I'm going to do here is actually hit the pencil, switch this to the webcam, which is the BTS. So now that's in the middle, but we don't want 2 of them. So we'll switch this to the USB video. And the reason we do that, of course, is because in vertical, depending on if you're on Instagram or on YouTube, this bottom one is going to be covered all the time. So you want to be able to flip between them fairly seamlessly, depending on what you have going on. All right. So then the next one we want to do is a screen share. And I'm going to actually go ahead and duplicate this one as well, because I want that top spot with the logo, with the name just the way that it is. So host plus screen share. Let's just say screen, host plus screen. So now we can go here, unlock these 2 and delete them. Delete that. Delete that. Now we have this all set and ready to go. And next thing we want to do is ensure, or better yet, go and bring in a screen share. So we talked about some of these options in here in terms of overlays. There's a number of them. But here we have overlay that says screen share. This looks like a computer. New screen share overlay. We hit that, and it brings it in here fairly small. So we're gonna try and roll that up a little bit, roll it up a little more. This is my primary screen. I do want this to be on my secondary screen, and there is the screen share I want. And so I'm just going to, again, hit that option, drag into crop, and again, hit that option, drag into crop, and make this bigger. I'm just scrolling my wheel up. All right, we're gonna make this even bigger. Now I do want to hit that option and just crop in. I don't like showing the URL when I'm doing this for my own shows and stuff. So that is something to be mindful of. This has a little bit of space on it. That's, again, another reason why it's good to be able to see this on a bigger screen. So now I can see that it's taking up everything, but I am cutting off the bottom part of my camera. So I'm going to bring this down some more to where it meets. And did not do that. So we have that there. And on the actual screen itself, I can scroll up and down just to make sure that it looks good. And then we can just lock that in place. Lock that in place, and we have our screen share overlay. And this is it on this other screen. I can bring up whatever other tabs I'd like, because it's already, kind of set up and designed for that purpose. So if I want to bring up Facebook.com, or if I want to bring up Instagram, or if I want to bring up whatever website I'd like to bring up, I can do that. And because the top is kind of cropped off, you don't see the URL or that search bar, I can do that seamless to what everybody is seeing online. So I have that scene already set up, designed, ready to go, and it's pretty good. So we would then go into creating one more, which is a web widget or comments. So let's start with duplicating one of these other scenes. Again, we'll duplicate this, and we'll say this is host plus comments. Host plus comments. Pull this down to the bottom, and again, go through and delete these. It's kind of like we're using this as a template, and that's exactly what you want it to be, because you already have it set up and designed. So now I'll want to grab my comments, and then very similar to the screen share, you actually, we should have probably duplicated the screen share one. So let's do that real quick. I'm going to do that, and we'll use this one for host plus web widget. All right, so host plus comments, we'll just simply go here to the pencil and change this from secondary display to Ecamm Live to the comments. And now I have the comments there, and I just simply uncheck where it says zoom to the app. And now we have this kind of, let's unlock this, and there we go. We can, we'll change this back to wide. All right, so the comments are on one side of the screen. So I'm going to try and pull this out. There we go. All right, so there's the comments, and we'll crop in on the other side to make sure we just have the comments. And now we have our comments. Pull that down, and the top is also cropped in, and so we can let's move this up some. We do want it to take up the whole thing. There we go. So now we move this down to the bottom, and now we have our scene set up. So if comments were coming in, they would be coming in automatically into Ecamm, and I would be able to show those comments to those who are watching just by having this scene here. We can lock that in place. Now here we have the web widget, and one of the things that we did before was we had gotten rid of the bottom shot, which probably wasn't good. So I'm going to just duplicate this again by unlocking this scene, this camera, and option drag and pull this all the way down to the bottom. We're going to change this camera to the BTS shot. And now we're going to do something that usually you can go down here and go to web widget and add it in. But the easier way to do this, I've found, is by simply opening up a Chrome window or browser, whichever browser you want. I'm going to go to my website, howitallworks.com. Make sure you have the whole thing highlighted, right? As you can see that the whole thing is highlighted, and then just drag that into your window. Now, once I have that, I can close my browser and I can just simply size this the way that I want it, kind of where the other one was. Now it's sitting right in the middle, and you simply can turn this on. And now this is a whole browser right inside Ecamm. You don't have to screen share it. You have a web widget that gives you an entire browser. And you can do this with multiple different websites. And I want to be clear, this is all clickable. Like if I click the watch page, it's going to load that watch page and I can showcase what's on that page as well. Like this is a full functioning browser, which is such an awesome cheat code for what we have been doing and how you can manage your scenes. The only other thing I want to show you is the process to be able to export these scenes. So I have this whole folder called vertical Ecamm scenes. We have host only, we have the host plus guest, we have 3 cameras, with the top down in the middle, 3 cameras with the back BTS in the middle. We have host plus screen, host plus comments, and we have host plus web widget. And this whole thing is in this folder. So all I need to do is in my scenes, grab this file and drop it into this folder, into my Finder window, which now all that one would need to do is simply double click this file when you have Ecamm open, and when you double click that file, it will import those scenes as a folder into your Ecamm instance. So this is going to be available. I'll let you know where at the end of the video. So here we are in Evmux. Took a look at all the different things that we can do inside of Ecamm in terms of building out some vertical scenes. Let's do the same process over in Evmux. So I have a couple of my cameras already added here at the bottom, even have my laptop in as a guest here as well. Right here on your main window, you have streaming your portrait and landscape options. So you have the landscape option there, portrait option there. So I've simply selected portrait. And so now we're ready to begin. It starts off by automatically putting you on dynamic scene. I'm going to go to add a new scene. So just as we did with Ecamm, let's do host only. And you have some scene templates here. And here, I just want to mention, this is where you would hit to import scene. More on that in a little bit. When I finish all the scenes, I'm going to make sure I share those scene codes and make sure that that document is available for you in the first comment. So here we click create. Now we have a blank pro scene that is in the portrait orientation. So the first thing we want to do, of course, is to have the host only. And then so in this case, I'm just going to simply add my camera to the scene. One of the things that we can do, actually, let's do this a different way, is add new layer, right? And we're going to add a dynamic grid. And with the dynamic grid, I can just say fit or fill. I'm going to put fill in this instance because that is going to set that up. And then once I have that set like that, I'm going to just click add there. And we want to just click to maximize this. So now we have essentially my camera is already there. It's ready to go. I'm going to add another layer, and that's going to be from my media files, right here in media files. I have the name PNG that we used over in Ecamm. I've got that added. Same process. I'm going to go ahead and crop this in a little bit and crop it on the other side. And once we have that where we want it, we can now make it a little bit bigger and put it wherever we'd like. So in this instance, I'm going to actually put it up above my head as I usually have it. And there it is. So now I've got that ready and set up. So I do want to move that over just a little bit. I just noticed that when we went out. Okay, so there it is. That scene is done. We want to lock these in place. And what I will do is just click on the actual scene itself and decide what my transition is going to be. So let me do that one more time. You click on the scene itself, the 3 dots on the scene. You have a number of options. You can duplicate, which we're going to use. We can rename it. We can share the scene, which we're going to use. But here where it says stinger/transition, I want to select that. And I want it to slide, actually not fade down. I want it to slide down. And the reason why I use that transition is because when you're vertical streaming, that's the normal thing that happens. So here, let's go ahead and share this scene. And what that does, it gives me this link and I can copy that. I'm going to paste that. And again, we're going to make these available for you in the first comment underneath the video. So now I have that scene shared. I'm going to duplicate it. So let's go here, go to duplicate it. And you can see the transition. All of the things take place. The next thing that I want to do is host plus guest. So let's go here, rename this scene, host, and put the plus sign, guest there. So now we have host plus guest, we have host only. And all I want to do is add a guest. So you would simply, go to your invite guest link, copy that, send it to whoever it is going to be on the show with you. And then you can simply go to your guest, which this is my guest here that's been added, my laptop behind me, and you click to add it. And we're pretty much done. That's ready to go. I generally, as I mentioned, don't put the name for the guest on, but that's pretty much it. And so that scene is ready to go. It already has the transition that I want because we duplicated it. So now I'm just going to go ahead and share this scene so that I have that one as well. And I'll just be doing that as I go through here. The next scene that we want to create is the 3 cameras. So this one is going to be slightly different. So we're going to have to start from scratch as opposed to duplicating. And so let's do that. 3 cam. We're going to say BTS. We'll do the BTS one first and keep it as empty scene. And we'll create, I'm going to say add to end of list so that it adds the scene to the bottom of the list. So it doesn't put it in the middle there. Right away, I'm going to just go ahead and select my transition so I don't forget that. The slide down is what we had selected before. And we have this blank scene. Add new layer, media files, and I have my background. You're used to that already. And the first thing to do, of course, is to make that thing take over the whole canvas. That's what I call your working area, and then just go ahead and crop in on it. So it's just making sure that is taking up the right amount of space and we're not cropping anything off. All right, so now that's ready to go, we can lock it and add new layer. We're going to add a camera. I think actually I just go ahead and add the camera by clicking on the camera itself at the bottom, and I can select that, pull it, make it big or the size that I'd like it to be, and give it a frame. I do want to give it a frame. I like to use the blush and then just pull it all the way to 100. That gives me some of the brand color that I'm used to. The other thing that we can do now is you have the opportunity to do a lot of different things, but I'm going to go over here to where it says where the camera is and actually go ahead and lock it in place. So we're going to lock it in place. And we'll add yet another camera. So this one we said was BTS, right? So we'll add BTS first. Same process as we did before in Ecamm to bring this in and kind of just use the arrows to bring it down some. And again, give it a well, no, we're not going to give that one a frame. And then we do the same thing for the top down shot. Add that to the scene. And again, let's go lock this one in place. Top down shot is here now. So we want to add that in, make sure we get that situated. We have all 3 cameras now added to the scene, and we can lock that in place. And the top one has a frame on it. So we're pretty much ready to go. And so here, I'm going to go ahead and share this scene, copy that. So now we have that scene copied, and we're good to go on that one. So we do want to go ahead and duplicate this scene, duplicate, and we want to rename it. All right, and instead of BTS, this time we want it to be top down because we're putting that in the middle. So we hit continue. It already has the different things there. So it's just a matter of just slide them. I'm just trying to do this in one of the easiest ways possible. So I was going to try and select them and change them the way that I would in Ecamm, but I think the easiest way is just to go ahead and slide them up and down. So now I have the top down shot in the middle. I have the BTS shot on the bottom, and we're ready to go. We lock these back in place again and export that one. Say share scene, copy that. And so we have that next scene already done. And so next we want to do a screen share scenario. I'm going to actually duplicate this scene again. So let's do that. We'll duplicate. And in this scene, we will actually go ahead and remove these extra cameras from the scene, and then go ahead and add a screen share. So we do add a screen share. In this particular instance, I want to add my How It All Works page. I think it's this top one here, and we're going to say share. And once we have that, we see that it is there. I'm going to hit to add it to the scene. You'll see that it has been added, and we have this where we can make it a little bit bigger. Of course, we have the ability to crop in on it, make that take up the right amount of space. And once we do that, we might have to clean it up a little bit more, but at least we have it to where we want it to be this far. Crop in a little more and yet a little more. All right, move that to the side some. And we'll just kind of make it take up the whole space. And so now that that's there, we can lock that in place, and we can scroll up and down. We can go to CNN.com. We have the ability to basically anything that we put in this screen, we can have shared into our stream. And so you have the option to do that, and you're good to go. So this scene is now done, and we have everything locked. We want to make sure that we take this, share the scene, copy it, and have that available for you as well. And whenever you're ready to download those or access those files, you'll have it. I'm going to go ahead and hit the stop share on that, and you'll see what that looks like. Then our final scene is for comments. So I am going to actually duplicate this scene as well. Duplicate this scene. And that gives me this scene. Now we just go ahead, unlock the screen share and delete it. So remove that from the scene. And we want to add a new layer. And this part is going to be interesting because we want to make sure you see this. We're going to go to apps and widgets. We go to apps and widgets, and you have a number of different functions and features here. And several of them are really dope, really cool. RSS feed ticker, which pulls from different news sources. You also have scrolling text. You have QR codes, audio visualizer, teleprompter is really cool. I thought that was something really interesting. YouTube player, which allows you to play YouTube videos and kind of react to them. Got to be careful with that a little bit. But several things that are here. The one that we're going to focus on, of course, is the chat box. And when we add this, click to add this to the scene, we see that that has been added there. We get to decide what, everything that this looks like. So we can kind of size it the way we want it and put it on there. You can see this is just kind of taking up that space kind of nice and even. We can decide how many comments are in there, whether they're inline or whatever. And the other thing that's really great is you can actually test it to see what that looks like. And so while testing it, you can kind of say, all right, we want the size of the comment to be bigger so that people can kind of view that a little bit better. So there we go, have the size of the comment. I put it all the way up. Amount of comments, put that down some, or up some, just depending on how many you want there. If you want to show the avatar size, you want that to be a little bit bigger so that people can kind of see their own picture when they're on. You can change the comment color and things like that. Let's test the comments again. You can see what that looks like. And that is essentially done. So we click on back. Those options and functions features come when you click on the actual chat box layer inside of Evmux. Lock that scene and you basically have this scene ready to go. I am going to export this scene as well. And so we'll click to share that scene and click copy, and we will go ahead and hit that paste button and we'll say we're done. Now, those are basically all of the different scenes that we created. I just want to go through that import process one more time so that when you get access to the scenes that I just built, you know exactly what to do. You go to create a brand new pro scene. So under pro scenes, you click on add scene, and then you will, out of these two options, you have import scene. Click on that, and then you want to enter the scene identifier. Those are the things that I have been copying this entire time. So when you grab that scene identifier, you will copy that from the document that I'll make available in that first comment. You click import and maybe add to the end of the list. When you click import, it's going to add that into your scene. Now, I created it in this particular studio, so adding that again will just kind of duplicate that scene. You can see that added. The only other thing I want to make sure you get a chance to see is that as I go between my scenes here, I can get a chance to see what these scenes look like and how they animate on screen. See how that animates? See how that animates? See how that animates, and again, it's just that scroll, that look of scrolling, which is pretty cool. And so those are some of the scenes, and you will have access to those when you're ready. So which platform did it better, Evmux or Ecamm? Let me know in the comments. You probably already know what my preference is. To grab the exact designs I created in this video for both Evmux and Ecamm, be sure to click the link in the first comment or the link that's going to be available in the description. If you need more Evmux or Ecamm tutorials for creating content, check out these playlists right here, where I go over all kinds of functions and features for you to be able to punch up your production value and for you to navigate around these platforms with ease and confidence as you create content and live shows for your brand. Click right here to watch, and I'll see you over there. Grace and peace, fam.